Last week, a massive hailstorm decimated the garden and wrecked my roof. The first step after any big storm is cleanup. I start with the bird bath because it's small and will give me instant gratification. This little piece of copper helps prevent algae growth, and the solar pump keeps the water moving so we don't get mosquitoes. Next, we tackle the patio. The patio is basically my project area, so it's holding a lot of building materials, which the storm has tossed about. With the flowers gone, the hummers are being extraterritorial over the feeder. It is really fun to watch their aerial show. I don't have a leaf blower, but if you switch your shop vac around, this works pretty well. And the hummingbirds don't mind. I got about half the patio cleaned before the rain started. The hailstorm put a big dent in my patio awning, which has led to a major leak. The rain is not so good for my leaky roof, but is great for the garden. After the storm passes, we'll start to clean up our perennials, like roses. Perennials are plants that live for multiple years. The goal? Remove anything that's damaged. A fresh, clean cut will heal faster than ragged, broken branches. With all plants, cut back to something, like a leaf or a node. Healthy, undamaged, ruined by the hail. So I cut off anything that's major hail damage. So the node right there is ready to grow again, and you want to look for ones that are pointing out, not in. So you want to have the bush grow in kind of like a goblet shape, not all come together. So you want to encourage outward growth and not crossing inward growth. But this had a lot of damage, which makes it susceptible to fungus and other problems, so we're cutting it back. I know it looks harsh to cut back so much, but it will be much easier on the plant to heal over clean cuts than try to heal the severely damaged bark and ragged, broken branches. I'm hoping that we can get another round of roses this fall when the temperature cools down again. Cannas are pretty hardy and come back with little to no care, but there are a lot of shredded leaves here. Removing the dead leaves allows the remaining ones to feed the plants. This should allow them to recover faster and put out new blooms. Even though nearly every plant was severely damaged, some are already putting out new growth. The garden is already in a state of disruption, so let's add to the chaos. I have started tons of projects and struggle to finish them, so I'm really trying to hold myself accountable and finish getting this edging in. I set up a string line for a nice straight line, and then it's time for the hard part, digging. The first night I was able to cut the line really crisp with my edger. The edger is only about 4 inches deep, but I need a trench that's about 10 inches deep, which means a lot of digging tomorrow morning. Our chief inspector is on the case, bright and early. She was not impressed with the mess. Billy rubs were required to move the project forward.
I love you.
I'm using aluminum flashing as garden edging. Possibly a terrible idea, but it's 10 inches tall and should stop all of the grass and a fair amount of the bamboo from invading my garden. This is a test fit. We've had a ton of rain, which made the soil super soft, and I'm hoping to be able to just push it down as far as it needs to go. Sadly, all of the bamboo and tree roots derailed this plan, which means it's time for heavy digging. I really want this edging in, but I don't want to dig this trench. Sadly, I'm a peasant, which means this is now my gym. I think it's pretty obvious I've never used a pickaxe before, and each attempt is motivating me to keep studying so I never have to again. By far, the hardest part was digging where all of the bamboo and tree roots were entangled. I had to clip a ton of roots to be able to keep digging. Day 2, I'm trying to level out the low spots of my lawn. I figure I might as well since I'm making a mess anyways. My pickaxe technique is improving slightly. I'm figuring out how to leverage it to break roots and pry old rusty rebar out of the ground. After dinner, we score some more bamboo. And even more the next morning. I'm racing to get the trench all the way to the arch before work and still have time for a shower. After work, we hit a rock. At first, I thought it was a buried pager because it was so flat and about the right width, but I couldn't find the end. I kept thinking surely we've uncovered it, but it just kept going. The next night, I really wanted to find out how big this rock is. The roots and the bamboo are not helping. It's hard to even get my shovel in. The roots are so tangled, it's basically a living mat of roots. I lasted about 10 minutes before deciding to call it. I've uncovered about 5 feet and it's so much bigger than I'll be able to remove on my own. So it's time for plan B. Let's plant some stuff. I'm prioritizing anything that has a long growing period. I'm starting with squash. I want some zucchini, some cucumbers, and some crookneck. Gourds! Some of my gourd seedlings have pulled through, but none of the giant bushel gourds have. It can take up to 6 months of growth before they're ready to be cured. Getting them in ASAP is top priority.
Done.
Okra! We've got some crazy heat coming this week. I don't have any shade cloth or shade cloth money to protect my garden, so I'm planting true heat-loving crops. Okra is a high heat superstar. Done. Most of the hyacinth beans had sprouted and were then wiped out by the hail, so we plant again.
Done.
This next week's gonna be super hot. We're looking at over 100 degrees on Wednesday. So what I'm not gonna do is plant any of these new little plant babies I got because they will just die. I have got a ton of pots throughout the garden. I'm gonna try to make sure I get them either to the shade or water them both Wednesday morning and Wednesday evening to help them recover from those high temperatures. Things that are in smaller pots, so anything about this size or smaller, so 5 or 6 inches, for sure I'm gonna go in the shade. This guy's already been beat up enough from the hail, so I'm gonna try my best to get all of my pots to the shade. Now for my main garden, I do not have shade cloth and I don't have shade cloth money right now. I've got to fix a roof and I don't know how expensive that's gonna be. So that means I can't afford to do that. But if you can, 40% is a sweet spot that's gonna help out your plants. I learned that from another YouTuber. I don't remember her name. I wanna say Vanessa, but I will link her channel down below. We have worked super hard this week, cleaning up so many things, replanting, and most especially the trench. I appreciate so many of you left positive comments, left me DMs on Facebook, and I just appreciate the support that you've given me. I'm trying to reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. Help me reach my goal. It's free. All you have to do is click the button that says subscribe. See you guys next time. Next week, we're going to tackle the gophers that are tearing up what's left of my yard and visit a generous friend's beautiful garden.